I know a lot of you already. Again, you can say hi in the chat thread. Welcome to the webinar. The webinar on matching your nutrition to your hormones. Deep dive into this information. I'm so excited. Again, as you're popping on here, if you've got questions, you can ask them in the chat thread. If for some reason you're not comfortable, you can also message it to me privately. If you're watching the replay, you can message me a question later. You can email me a question. Again, if you want confidentiality for some reason, that's totally fine. I guarantee I've heard your question before. But so it's not going to be anything that I've not heard. There are a lot of different things we're going to cover. So another thing, as we're getting started in 2 minutes, we'll dive right in. Make sure that you have like a little piece of paper, pen, something nearby to write stuff down, because you may want to take some notes on this. A lot of times when I speak, and I travel all over the country and I speak to a lot of different groups of women, in businesses and, gyms and event centers and, fitness centers, things like that. And all the time, either I bring stuff for people to write with, or people have, ways to write things down. Because some of the stuff I talk about, I'm just going to go through and you don't want to miss it. And that way, some of the things that I cover, you can start applying right away. Yay. Yeah. So, yep, just take 1 more minute here. If you don't have anything to write with, go get it. Go grab it. It's going to be good. I promise. It's going to be good. Okay. Perfect. What else? Are we excited? Who's pumped? Who is pumped for this webinar? I'm pumped. I'm pumped to talk about this. So this is all information that is going to be a huge deep dive. Yes, Stephanie's pumped. Woo! Jeannie, yes. Yes. Me, Angela. Is that Tosha? I'm not wearing my glasses, so I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong. It's because for some reason the letters on the side are really tiny. And now, you know what happens when you get older, your eyes are like, you're like, what is that? Oh, Jody, yes. Alex, yes. Diane, yes. Carol, hi. Yes. All right, it is 7 o'clock. We are going to get started here. Yay. Ooh, Alicia, yes. You've been looking for where you can find this info. Awesome. You're 1 a.m. in London trying to be pumped. That's amazing. Okay, well, I'm going to be pumped for you if it's 1 a.m. in London. And you know what? That's amazing that you are on in London. Dina and Jenny. Yay, Dina, hi. Yay. I'm so excited that you're watching this. Yes. So also, yeah, again, if you are watching this live, you've got questions, put them in the chat thread. If you're watching the replay, still put your questions in, or you can still message them to me. You're taxiing on an airplane, Suzanne. Perfect. So many ladies from so many different places. This is amazing. All right. So I am really, really excited to cover a ton of information today, talking about nutrition, hormones, everything else. And we're going to talk about some seasonal foods too, just a ton of different info, and then also touch on even exercise for your hormones, for your cycle. It's very, very different way of looking at the body, and something I'm super, super passionate about. So as we get started, so first introduce myself, let you know who I am if this is your first time. Hi, Susanna. Yes, and your daughter, Christina. Awesome. If you've never, met me before, hi. Nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Beth Westy. Here's some pictures of my life. These are actually pretty recent pictures from my social media. So I am married. There's my husband, Hjalmar. He's Finnish. He's Finnish. That's his name. Nobody can pronounce it. So everybody just calls him Hal, or I call him H. This great mustache there, which he puts on sometimes for when he's hunting. And then there's my kids. I have 3 kids. They're 12, 10, and 8. So all kind of back to back. Zen, Zara, and Azalea. Stina from Newfoundland, Canada. Yay! It said CA. Canada. Yes. Awesome. So there's me and my 3 kids. And the other picture of them right there, that's from us at Costco. Love Costco. Do a lot of shopping there because I have a small tribe of children to feed. So there we go. And then there's a picture of me after one of my home football games. And oh, Allison from Tennessee. Hi, Allison. So that's me. I play football for the Minnesota Vixen, which is a women's full tackle football team. Yeah, so that's me and the fam after one of our games. So a little bit about me, just a little bit of background to know who I am. Of course, I have tons of info on social media and whatnot, but I'll do a little rundown for you here. I am from Minnesota. I was born and raised here. I actually grew up on a small goat farm. So I grew up milking goats and in 4-H, doing fun stuff like that. I was an athlete in high school, 3-sport athlete in high school, got a scholarship to play volleyball at Northern Michigan University, where I went for 4 years to play volleyball, and then had a 5th year that I actually got paid for through the NCAA Continuing Education Scholarship to finish up my degree. And that's actually where I met my husband. He was a skier, distance skier, an amazing athlete as well. And then I moved back to Minnesota to start graduate school, started chiropractic school. So while I was an athlete in college, I actually got invited to play on professionally overseas, and I turned that down to start graduate school, to start sort of my career and, you know, being a grown-up, all that. So I came back to Minnesota, started chiropractic school. So I'm a chiropractor by training, also certified in acupuncture and Eastern medicine. And in chiropractic school, after my first year, I had my first kid then. So I had my first 2 kids while I was actually in school. And then I graduated, started a business. And then the next month after I started a business, found out I was pregnant with my 3rd. Very busy time of my life. And had her. So that next year. So 3 kids, all 2 years apart. Amy, hi from Ohio. Hi, Amy. Yes. Yes. So I was an athlete forever, right? Which plays into me being an athlete now. Little side note, my kids are awesome and they're so smart. My kids are very much into like other things, right? I'm a gym rat. I'm very competitive athletically, and they like to do choir and dance and stuff. So I'm like, woo! So I like to play football. Helps with my channel my competitiveness, right? No, but I'm really blessed to be healthy and strong enough now to still play a competitive, very rough contact sport. And a lot of it is due to my nutrition, which I'll talk about and touch on here. Yes. Hi, Don. So as one of the things that I found was a struggle for me and part of my story and kind of how I got to do what I do now, how I got into this work for women is the struggles that I had. So I was an athlete through my whole life, right? And trained and conditioned, all these other things. And then I had kids, right? I never had any major health issues. I never had any issues with my body, really, nothing. But all of a sudden, I have kids. And then after my 3rd was born, I actually struggled a ton with ovarian cysts. So much so that I remember being at work at a clinic, right? I'm a chiropractor. So I was treating patients. And I had to like run to my back room and like crouch on the floor because an ovarian cyst burst. And I was in so much pain that I couldn't even stand up. It got so bad. I spent almost 1.5 years trying to, do all these things to help my body with these cysts and all these other issues I had. And I couldn't understand like why I couldn't figure this out. I mean, that was the biggest struggle for me. And I was so frustrated because I was, oh my God, I was, doing everything. Right? I'm a natural healthcare practitioner. I should know, right? I was like, I don't want to get any medications I don't need. I don't want to be on something I don't need. My body should be able to do this, right? I didn't have these issues before. Why now? What's happening now? Right? Oh, Noel, thanks for the eye-opening. You followed the diet and you started to feel great. Yay, that's awesome. Hi from North Dakota. Hi, Donna. Hi from Pennsylvania. Hi, Suzanne. So that's amazing. Started to feel great. Perfect. Look at that testimonial right away before we even get started. Yes. But that was one of the things that I struggled with a ton. I was in so much pain, and my husband actually came to pick me up one day at work and take me to the hospital because I was having such a problem with a cyst. And I was like, I'm fine. Right. I wasn't fine. No, wasn't fine. I was in a lot of pain and having issues. And the only things that they could tell me, or the only things that were, they could really help me with at the hospital was they were like, okay, here is your pain medication, your opioid pain medication, and here is your birth control. Here you go. That was it. That was all they had for me. And I really, really couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. I really didn't understand why it was such a problem, you know, like this shouldn't be like this. And I shouldn't have to take all this stuff to mask what I was dealing with. Like I should be able to like unearth the problem. I want to take care of the root of the problem. So I kind of turned away from that and I got really frustrated and I dove into my training. I dove really, really deep into the work that I was doing. Hi from Michigan. Oh, you love working with Dr. Beth. Hi, Deb. Yes. Oh my gosh. So when I got really frustrated, when I just couldn't take it anymore, and I dove deep into the work that I do, you know, I'm certified in acupuncture, got trained in fertility issues for women, and I actually dove into that more, dove into cycle issues, hormone issues for women. And I found that with the Eastern medicine side of things, that they look at the body completely differently. That if there's something going wrong with your system, it's not that you need to like shove it down. It's okay, let's unearth that, work with it, and get it back to the normal pattern that it should be in and that you should have. And I was like, that's the problem. That's where we need to go. So I started applying these different nutrition things week to week with myself, started noticing an improvement. And then I started applying it to the patients that I was having, you know, the women that I worked with, that they were like, oh, I'm having this problem. I can't get pregnant because my cycle's not regular, right? I'm too overweight to get pregnant. Okay, let's work with your hormones in your cycle. I'm in perimenopause and my hormones are going crazy. I'm so stressed out and my hormones are going crazy. I don't know what to do, but my body's all over the place. Where do I start? You know, what do I do? Right? So I started applying these same principles and started getting amazing results. Again, not just with myself, but with all the women that I was working with. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to let women know this. This is something that has to change so much. So I sold my office. I dove into writing and speaking and into doing what I do today. So I do have a book. It's on Amazon. It's the Female Fat Solution, where I talk about this in detail, you know, in the book as well. But I'm going to dive into more information specifically than even what's kind of covered in the book. Cleo, hello from New Orleans. Hi, Cleo. So we're going to be diving into this info a ton. I also have a podcast, The Female Health Solution, where I do a lot of information there, as well as interview other experts in the women's health field. But for today, I just wanted to let you guys know where I'm coming from, why I do what I do, and why I'm so passionate about it, because it changed my life, and I've seen it change the lives of so many women. Right? Like you can see in the chat thread here that there's a ton of women that have already noticed the changes in their bodies just by following different things. Simple, easy things, using foods you already like and eat. Yes. Ooh, Krista from Newmarket, Ontario. Hi. So these are things that I think is really important to dive into. So let's go. Let's do it. So I want to just let you know who I am and all these other things. Okay. You guys ready? Are you ready for that? I'm ready. I know you're ready. Oh, you're in Boston. Hi, Ashley from Boston. Yes. Okay, perfect. So also, as you're still popping on, if you find something that is, you know, that we're going through that, again, you're like, oh my gosh, this is eye-opening for me, let me know. Put it in the chat threads. Or if you're like, holy cow, I got to write this down, you know, and you say you can't write fast enough, screenshot it if you want. I do that sometimes when I'm watching stuff. I'll screenshot it and be like, I need to get that. I need to get that info. Yes. Jen from St. Michael, Minnesota. Minnesota. Ooh, Bev is from Marquette, Michigan. Bev, that's where I went to college. I went to Northern. Go Cats. Go Cats. See, I'm a dork, kind of. That's okay. All right, so here we go. So the info that I'm so passionate about and everything else that has changed thousands of women's lives already. The one thing that, as we go through this, it is going to be really different. So kind of keep an open mind about it. And some of the things that we talk about are going to be very different from what you've heard, almost the opposite. And so it's very normal to feel like, well, that makes sense, but why does it? So it's going to be conflicting maybe a little bit in your head, because this is so different and designed specifically for women, right? That's why. The history of nutrition, I have a whole chapter in my book dedicated to this, the history of nutrition and how it's set up for men, right? Everything is the same for men, right? It does not change week to week, but in women's bodies, our bodies are different week to week, which we'll go into. So especially when you're looking at weight loss, health, everything else, really think about how it is related to your body and everything else. So when we look here at this chart, I always start with this because I believe women are not educated enough on how their bodies work and function on a regular basis. So day 1 is the first day of your period. Day 14 is about when you ovulate. Day 28 is the end of it before it starts over again. Now this is about, right? This can shift and change, right? This can be a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. This can be a little bit longer, shorter. This whole thing, you can be a 30-day cycle. You can be a 26-day cycle. You can be a 40-day cycle, whatever is normal for you. Also note that if you are under stress, if you get sick or something happens, right? This can change as well, right? If you're under a lot of stress, it can make your cycle longer or shorter. Yay! Not always the same, right? What's really helpful though is if you have a pattern to already set in your body, then it's so easy for your body and system to go back to it and to really be consistent. Oh, yeah. So also I'm going to cover that too. If you don't have a cycle, if you're on a birth control, if you're in menopause or have had a hysterectomy, I will cover that too, just in just a minute as we go through this. But it's important that you understand the hormone shift and change and how it ebbs and flows throughout the month for women. So estrogen here, dominant here in the first couple of weeks. Also, when we look at the body, and if we're going to break this down even, into week to week here, right? And do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, right? Just even looking, look at this sliver right here. Look at week 1, right? Right there. Look how different that is from week 3 with hormones. How different is that, right? So if you're not eating differently here versus here, then you're missing a huge component of working with your body. And here's why, is because estrogen and progesterone do completely different things in your system naturally. Completely different things. Yes. So let's just look at the basics of, let's chunk it down into weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, just for simplicity's sake here, as we start to go through this information. So even just this versus this, you can see that the estrogen is dominant here, progesterone is dominant here, right? Yeah. So estrogen, when estrogen is higher in the first couple of weeks, it does something completely different in your system than progesterone does. Estrogen is going to be more cooling foods that we're going to work with. And I'll get into those in a second. But the function of estrogen in your system, estrogen is actually going to increase your metabolism. It's going to increase your digestive system. You're going to get more energy from it. You're going to feel better working out. You run 5 miles here, you're going to be like, yeah, look at me go. I'm making great time. Awesome. And then you're going to recover pretty well afterwards. Yeah. Easy cell turnover, easy recovery rate there. It's good, right? Estrogen also burns carbs naturally. Yay! So estrogen, in terms of working with estrogen, the cooling foods that you would choose are going to be foods like chicken, turkey, fish, any raw fruits and vegetables, right? This is where if you need to write this down, you could write it down. My favorite things to even put in my water here, you can even flavor your water for your hormones. Mint and cucumber. That says that's cucumber. Sometimes I write a little sloppy. But when we're looking at this and the power of estrogen and what it does in your system, it's really easy to just shift kind of your regular everyday foods to match with that so they have a cooling tone so you're matching with estrogen, right? Yeah. So again, estrogen increases metabolism, more energy, recovering faster, builds more muscle, burns carbs, all of that's estrogen. Now you switch over. After you ovulate, boom, hormones really shift pretty quickly too. All of a sudden you're in progesterone phase. Now progesterone does something completely different in the body. Your energy is actually going to decrease a little bit. It's going to come down. It's going to be a little harder, right? That 5 miles that you ran here and that you were feeling real good about, you run that same 5 miles here. Same 5 miles. And you may feel like you're on the struggle bus. You may feel like, why is that so hard? Oh, what is wrong with me? Is it something I ate? Why are my legs so heavy? Did I not sleep well? Women do this all the time, right? You're looking for something to attach it to, really, when you're totally missing the fact that this is just where you're at in your cycle. This is where your hormones are at. Yes. So this is something where, oh my gosh, progesterone phase here, absolutely something where pay attention to this with exercise because it does feel different and your recovery is different. That 5 miles that you recovered from like that here, it's not going to feel the same here. You're going to be like 2 days later, whoo, I'm still feeling that run I had. Why? It's progesterone, right? It needs different things. Your body needs different things at this phase. So progesterone, sounding super fun, right? Everybody's loving progesterone right now. Progesterone, along with all these other things, it's actually going to slow down your digestive system a little bit too. So leading to more bloating or constipation or more digestive issues, heartburn, that type of a thing. Way more common to happen here in this phase than it is here. And it's just because it slows it down to absorb more nutrient, but again, it slows it down. The one thing about progesterone, though, that it does very differently from estrogen is that it burns fat naturally. Amazing, right? It allows your body to burn fat naturally. Now, this is really important for women because our bodies are naturally fat storing machines. That's the way they're designed. The male body, that's not the same. The male body is designed to be fat burning. Super easy for the male body to be fat burning. The female body, designed to be fat storing, right? And when we want to be fat burning, it's a lot tougher to get it there. So we're going to talk about some different tactics here to do that. So one of them is to eat for progesterone, which is going to be the warming foods, right? Things like beef, bacon, bison, venison, right? Bacon. Yay! Who's cheering right now? Who is cheering right now? Cooked fruits and vegetables. Anything that's spicy. Anything that's spicy. And then in my water, I actually like to add, I'll write this over here. See, it gets a little messy. I actually like to add a little ginger, sometimes some lemon to my water. That's H2O, ginger and lemon. And this can be fresh ginger, right? Like take fresh ginger slices, fresh lemon slices, put it in your water bottle, use that for the day. It absorbs that benefit from the ginger and the lemon. Ginger is also very good for your digestive system, helps move that along too, right? Win-win here, win-win. But it's a great warming component. You can use essential oils as well, ginger, lemon essential oils. Those are also stronger than if you use just the fresh slices, right? So be careful. A little dab will do you on those. I've made that mistake of being like, oh, look, I'm going to put peppermint in my... I use peppermint leaves. I'll just do peppermint oil in my water. Oh, that's too much. Like 1 drop is fine. That's my warning. Fair warning on that. But adding that in adds that warming component, helps you burn more fat. And it's good for your digestive system. So also working with the other issues that your body can have at this point, right? The other thing that women, I get so excited to start throwing my markers everywhere. Love me bacon. Yes. I know I saw some questions. I'm gonna get to those in just a moment. When we talk about a few things here too, talking about, exercise as well. I'm going to talk about weight loss, when to weigh yourself, and exercise and hydration and everything. Let's talk about exercise. Again, with estrogen, difference in estrogen here is that it's super easy to burn carbs, but another benefit is that you actually can build lean muscle easier in this phase here. The female body, it's not as easy. Men, they can build lean muscle like that, right? Their bodies are so different, right? They eat some meat, they lift some weight, right? That doesn't happen for women. It's not as easy for women to build lean muscle. You take a male and a female and have them follow the same thing, and the guy will build lean muscle like that, and the gal will be struggling. Why? Because our bodies are just built differently. And this is when our bodies are able to build more lean muscle more efficiently and quickly. Here, it's a lot tougher to build lean muscle. Why? Because that's a different phase that we're in. It's so energy depleting. It's super easy to be depleted at this point. So at this point, it's even acceptable to just maintain your lean muscle and focus on that fat burning, and then build and then maintain, and then build and then maintain. And that way you can lean out your body, right? Can you see how that's a very different way of looking at your training, at looking at how you exercise? A lot of women think, oh, I got to do cardio. I got to do cardio. I got to do cardio. You got to have the right muscle. Otherwise, when you do a ton of cardio, you're actually going to be breaking your body down more. And instead of going towards fat for energy, like you want it to, it's actually going to use your muscle tissue for energy. That's what happens to the female body when it gets stressed out. You don't fuel it properly. You don't match it properly. Instead of going to the fat tissue for energy, like you would think it would want to do, like, hi, I have all this fat tissue available. Please use that. Please use all my fat tissue for energy. No, it doesn't do that. It goes to the muscle tissue because it's easier. And because when the body is stressed out, when the female body is stressed out, it switches on that fat storage component. So it's going to hold tight to those fat cells as quick as it can. Just, not going to let them go. That's why it's like, okay, see you later, muscle. And you're like, oh, I worked so hard to build that muscle. You did. So it's really important you're taking account of the different phase your body is in and not pushing it too hard and really fueling it correctly to get the right result. This is where women, again, you've seen some of them here in the chat thread talk about, oh my gosh, yes, I feel so much better. Yes, because most women, when they follow the same plan all month long, get depleted, get their energy sucked from them, and they're not seeing and feeling the same results week to week because our bodies are so different. Can you guys see that? How many of you are having like light bulbs go off right now? How many of you are being like, OMG, OMG? Yes, this totally, yes, right? Like, yes, big head nods. Big head nods. That's my favorite comment. Yes, right? It totally makes sense. You're like, oh my gosh, yes, I've been following the same thing, right? Take into account the difference your body needs. Muscle building, muscle maintaining, muscle building, muscle maintaining, right? Burning carbs, burning fat, burning carbs, burning fat. And you switch back and forth and you have a different focus then. Here's a few other things that might blow your mind too. Now you're thinking about fueling your body differently, right? You're thinking about matching these things differently. Let's think about how you measure your success and when to measure your success. Say you like to weigh yourself, all right? I don't talk about, I say women should never really count calories, count your nutrients, count how you fuel your body. But say you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna start a program, and I'm gonna weigh myself, and that's gonna tell me whether or not I'm losing weight, right? You're thinking I'm gonna lose weight, so I should weigh myself. Well, first, men and women lose weight very differently in a very different pattern. So the one that you're used to, that you're trained in, that almost, I want to call us brainwashed. Women are brainwashed in that when you go on a diet, that you should want the scale to go down. That's how men lose weight. That's how the male body loses weight. Right? So my favorite joke that I tell is like, a guy can like sneeze and fart and drop 5 pounds like that, right? It's not hard for them. It's not hard for them at all. No. For women, it's very, very different. Women don't lose on the scale first. Women, if you're doing it correctly, if you're actually working with your body, you're going to notice things in a different pattern. You're going to get more energy. You're going to sleep better. You're going to feel better. Then you're going to notice a decrease in your inches. Your shape shrinks. And then the scale goes down. Yeah. That's how women lose weight. So women do this thing, right? You weigh yourself, and you're going to weigh yourself right here, right? Right at this point. I'm going to weigh myself, say this is day 7, right? Weighing myself at day 7. Great. And you're like, okay, and then I'm going to weigh myself here, and I'm going to weigh myself at, say, day 21. Weigh myself over here. Look at the body you're weighing yourself against. Totally different chemically, hormonally, everything. The other thing to kind of think about here is that in this phase here, your body is so different. You literally have a different blood volume. So you will weigh more. So here's what women go through. Oh, I'm going to start on this thing. I'm going to do this program. Look, I lost a pound. Oh my gosh, I lost another pound. Yay, me, go me. Look, oh no, I gained a pound. Oh no, I'm going in the wrong direction. I better cut back on my nutrients. I better cut my calories and get to the gym more. Because you're thinking you're gaining weight here. So you restrict more, which stresses the body out more when you really should be fueling it more. Why? Your body needs 300 to 500 more calories a day in this phase. That's just what progesterone needs. That cuts cravings, that cuts the fatigue down. It changes so many things when you fuel your body more because it needs it. And if you go up a pound or even maintain, right? You're like, I didn't lose any more weight. Oh no, it's not working. I got to cut more. No, that's normal. That's normal, because then when you fuel it correctly and you come back around again, that's where you're going to get a true measurement of what your body is doing differently. So you weigh yourself at week 7 here. Where do you compare that to? You compare it to previous week 7 or day 7, I mean, right? Day 7 here versus the previous day 7. Day 7 here versus the next day 7. That's how you know if you're really continually making progress. Measure yourself against your other true self of where you're at. Not just kind of randomly with a totally different body. You know what I mean? So that's the thing that women do that is really just, I want to say like a swing and a miss. But again, we're following in a direction that's really meant for men, not meant for women. So it's not that we're doing it wrong. We're just trained incorrectly and following a map that doesn't apply to us. The other thing that I'm going to cover, so here when we talk about menopause, perimenopause, hysterectomy, birth control, all these things, if you don't know where your cycle is at, or if you don't have one anymore, you still have some estrogen and progesterone in your body, in your system, right? It's just going to be on a smaller scale, right? So still have ebbs and flows, just a smaller scale. These hormones are still produced by other tissues. They're mainly produced by your reproductive organs, but they're also produced by adrenal tissue, fat cells, neural cells, other tissues, right? You still have some in your body. So you can still take advantage of the difference by following a pattern. For those of you that have a cycle and you're like, okay, yes, I'm on day 22 right now. You know exactly where you would start and exactly what pattern to follow, right? For those of you that don't have a pattern to follow right now, you can start anywhere. You can start on day 1 and just go from there. And your hormones are imprintable, right? You can imprint the nutrition on your hormones. They're adaptable. So for those of you that have lived with other women, right? I lived with other, ladies in college, right? It doesn't take very long for your bodies to sync up together, right? Why? Because your hormones are impressionable. Same thing here. You use your nutrition to imprint on your hormones to get them in a regular pattern. That way you know you're following something to really guide your body through. It really gives you an incredible result, even if you don't have a regular cycle anymore. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go back and answer some of these questions. I had some good questions here. Yes. Does it make a difference? Oh, yes. In the perimenopause and menopause. Yes. I should wear my glasses. Some of these things. Yes, it makes so much sense. Oh my gosh. Yes, right? All right. If I missed your question for some reason, because there's a lot of comments here, pop it in again if I don't answer it. Ooh, what are exercises for the progesterone phase? Yes. So for here, if you're going to be doing more muscle building, more weight, like you can do heavier weights, right? I still recommend some weight training here, but you'd be like lighter weights, more reps, right? And focusing on a little more endurance, right? Interval training, right? It's how you're going about it. For those of you that do a class or like a boot camp or something, here you can think about pushing yourself really hard and feeling good about it because you're going to recover quicker. You can push yourself here too, but just, don't feel bad if that last set or those last 30 seconds or something before the end of a station, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm dying. What is happening? Yeah. It's not you, right? Like these are things that, and I get it. I totally know what you're thinking. I thought the same thing. I was like, why am I so out of shape today? What's wrong with me today? It's not you, right? It's just where your hormones are at. So that's okay. That's okay. Know that it's going to turn around again. And in a couple of weeks, you're going to be at the gym having a day where you feel like Wonder Woman and you're killing it. that's how it goes, right? Helps you understand your body more, where you're at, and where to meet it at. That's a great question though. So a lot of times it's so more swimming, more lower strength, higher rep things here. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So again, like if I missed your question, and let me know. So if you're doing interval training here, higher intervals, more intense, and higher weights. Here you could even do body weights. So if you are not using weights in your weight training, you should. You should. Yes, same pattern for women in perimenopause or menopause. Same pattern, because you still have that. You still have those underlying hormones. Oh yeah, water weight. Oh my. Yes, right? So your body here, especially, oh my gosh, so many women have PMS symptoms, right? And you're thinking, our bodies are made to be like a punchline of a joke. How many movies, commercials, TV shows can you think of right now off the top of your head where women's bodies are made fun of or made it to seem like, oh yeah, it just sucks being female all the time, right? How many of you feel like that, right? And that's become a normal thing. Well, it's not normal. It's not normal because we're not told that, hey, your body needs different nutrients here. Hey, your body needs different hydration here. Your body hydrates differently. Yes. So you feel thirsty or you feel like you crave salt here. You want to know why? Because your body needs more electrolytes at this phase. Yeah, you literally need more electrolytes. More electrolytes. So I'll show you what I'm drinking literally right now. This is how I'm set up for my webinar. I have this is water. Here, electrolytes. My water bottle. Electrolytes and water and alternating. Getting electrolytes, getting water, and getting that in. Why? Because that is how you upload hydration into your cells. Your body's craving salts because it's telling you it needs more, right? It's amazing what happens when you get the right combination of electrolytes in and the right hydration, how that hydration gets uploaded into your cells. Otherwise, you're going to still feel thirsty, get more bloated, and then still not be hydrated properly, right? How many magazines? I remember reading magazines where they would say, oh, if you're craving salt, you just need more water, drink more water, you're, blah, blah, blah. If you're bloated, drink more water. Drink electrolytes, not just water. Water will not help because your body can't upload that hydration. You need the electrolytes and it needs it more here. So for hydration, I say do like here, like 2 water bottles of water and then 1 of the electrolytes. Here, I alternate. Water, electrolytes, water, electrolytes. Boom. There you go. It is a game changer in your hydration and how your body's feeling and reacting. And then you're not getting as puffy, you're not getting bloated, your digestive system works better, your energy is totally different. And when all these other systems start working better, everything works better and you feel better. And then things like your recovery happen better, right? You're able to align with where your body's naturally at. So much easier, so much better. Okay. Yeah, so that's a really great question on water weight, and your hydration is very, very different. So somebody's stopping birth control pills and then going back on. Yeah, so that's something where you can do that. Again, after having babies, that was me. My cycle was all over the place and I was having cysts all the time that were so painful. That's why I told my story at the beginning, because I totally understand. I get it. It's awful when this is irregular. It's awful. And you feel like you're crazy on top of it. You feel like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know where to turn. Whoa. Yeah. So when you start following this for your hormones and cycle, right? The amazing thing that happens is that you have this pattern to go off of and your body gets into this groove, right? When you shift all these things, you still have a pattern to go on. You have this foundation for your body to rely on, that even if you get sick, even if you get stressed, even if something external changes, boom, it can go right back there. So you're not going all over the place. Let's see, who asked that question? So if you have more questions on that, Belinda, you can always message me about it too. That's a common one though that I help women with a lot, is when they shift something like that and they want a regular pattern. to go off of. So if you, yes. When is the best time to weigh yourselves? So if you're going to weigh yourself, I would just do it at the same day every month, right? Here you're going to weigh more naturally. You just are. Anytime, days like 5 to 14 is going to be an optimal day if you're going to weigh yourself. And that way you come back to it again and again. And then you don't have to worry about it the rest of the month. Just focus on you being you and you doing a good job with you. And then if you're making progress then. I know it's sometimes a long time to know if you're making progress. So if you want to weigh yourself every week, again, only compare yourself to the previous month at that same day. That way you're getting an accurate look at it. Oh, look, I am, going along week to week in benefits. Yeah. So again, if you've had your ovaries removed or something like that, you can just start on day 1 and use the hormones that you have in your system. How long will it take to adjust? Ooh, that's a good question. Okay. How long does this take? So that's the other thing about this. A lot of women are marketed to all the time, which makes me crazy. I mean, razors, right? They make a razor pink and they make it smaller and they put less blades on it, yet they charge twice as much for it. What? They call it pink it and shrink it. Oh, it's for women. Ooh, women get marketed to so much for a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense. So all these things that are out there, I have a point to going on this little rant, I promise. All these things that are out there for women, lose weight quickly, like none of that is good for the female body. Very stressful to drop weight quickly. Like that's danger, right? Your body perceives that as dangerous, honestly. So all these things out there, and how we're trained and programmed to think, oh, you've been doing this for 2 weeks, you should be seeing a ton of results. Where if you start a program here, I wouldn't be surprised if if you're like 2 weeks in, you're like, well, I don't think this is doing anything. Well, of course not. Your body's just slower at this point, So overall, when I talk about hormones and implementing a positive change in your body, give it 12 weeks. That's 3 months. That's how long a full hormone phase is in the female body, 12 weeks. Anything less, that doesn't allow it to really fully work with your hormones. So that's really, really important. Yes. Electrolytes. Oh, good question, Deb. So there's a lot of them out there. I do recommend if you're going to use electrolytes that you use something that's clean, that is not, doesn't have artificial color sweeteners in it. I use a brand that is, very, very clean. Nuun is also a good brand too. Nuun. They have a lot of different flavors and stuff, and little tablets that you drop in your water. Yeah, that's a good question too, guys. Yes. Ooh, yeah, Michelle, good question. You might want to write down the graph. See, as I go through and draw it, it's one of those things that makes a ton of sense as I draw it. Sometimes if you look at it later, you're like, what? Jeannie, yes. So starting on day 1, yes. Yes, if you don't have a cycle. Get stiff pain before cycle and eating for a cycle can help pain. Yes, Susanna. Yeah, that's literally what helped me. This is what helped me. And so I started working with women with cysts and PCOS and endometriosis and fibroids and all these other big issues for women. And like I said, it doesn't happen overnight, right? But slowly starting to integrate. The biggest thing that I focus on for women is let's get your body healthier, functioning better, and it's going to work better for you. And all of a sudden, you're going to start to see these results just happen easily, naturally, because your body is working better, like it should, right? Instead of trying to force it to do these things. So many times we're, doing programs or doing things where we're like forcing this thing on our system when it's not meant to be like that. Our body ebbs and flows. Yes. So, and it can take time to adjust. Someone lose their appetite during their cycle. That is, yeah, appetite for someone who's getting increased or decreased appetite during your cycle. Oh, a lot of it is due to hormones and the fact that you're not nutritionally ready for that big change in hormone. I mean, sometimes look how quick that changes in a short period of time. Sometimes you can feel like you got hit by a truck, Yes. Sometimes you feel like you got hit by a truck. Basil. Ooh, yes, Jennifer. I was just going to start talking about this. This is like perfect segue into the next thing. So if you'll notice here, cooling and warming, estrogen, progesterone, super easy thing to watch. If you're like, I'm not sure where I'm at. Sometimes I'm all over the place. A lot of times women only do their basal body temperature or take their basal body temperature if you are, you know, trying to get pregnant, right? Otherwise, women are like, I don't care. If you need to know where you're at, follow your basal body temperature. So here's your temperature. It's lower here. It dips and raises and is higher here. And this can be like a full degree or more difference. There. Lower here, higher here, but cooling, warming, right? That's even following with your natural body temperature. There's another thing. I hear this from so many women when they start eating for their cycle. They're like, oh my gosh, I noticed this. My body is cooler here, and I do notice I get warmer here. Where normally I'm like, I normally feel cold all the time. That doesn't happen here anymore. Because your body's really getting that heat up. That's how you get to be burning more fat naturally. You lean into that higher temperature that you're supposed to have naturally. Yes. Okay, that's a great question. So following your basal body temperature. Yes, this is going to be recorded. Yes, so you can watch it again. Absolutely. Ooh, supplements. Yes. Okay, so supplements again. So overall, is it good to take a multivitamin? Sure. Multivitamin, fish oil, all that stuff, right? Yes. So I really focus on nutritionally matching with where your body's at, right? So if your body needs more calorie here, get it more calorie here. Get it more healthy fats, more proteins, all of that stuff, right? Sometimes you can take an extra fish oil here if you're feeling like, yes, I have more inflammation at this point too. Yes. Yes. Another thing too, if you're like, I'm not sure where my hormones are at. I'm not sure where to start. All these other things. There's a lot of women where I have women that are in menopause or that don't have a cycle anymore, and they will take their basal body temperature. Now it doesn't follow this pattern exactly, but a lot of times they'll notice a spike here and then it comes down again. And that's a way to figure out, oh, that's about my day 14, right? That's about where I'd be doing that. So for some of you, if you're like, yes, I want to jump in, I want to start doing this, awesome. Here's a way to figure out where you're at. Yes. So, how do you know? Do you base it off 98.6? Not everybody is 98.6, right? My normal base body temperature is actually like 95.5. So your basal body temperature you take first thing in the morning. You wake up before you get out of bed, before you drink any water, before you go to the bathroom. You just wake up, you reach over in your nightstand, you take your temperature, you write it down. You can use a regular thermometer. At the store, they're going to have a basal body thermometer. It's a regular thermometer. Remember I talked about them marketing things to women? I have seen basal body thermometers for like $3 more than the regular thermometer. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Oh! Anyway, that's what your basal body temperature is. So for me, I'm like 95.5 here, and I'll be 97 degrees up here. That's about my difference in body temperature. But these are some things that you can do. And the estrogen phase isn't important for the meat to be cold. Oh, not necessarily the meat temperature. I mean, it can be. So when you're talking about cooling foods, the tone of the food is cooling, and the temperature can actually be cooler. But you don't have to eat all your meals cold here. That wouldn't be very fun. But the tone of it is cooler, right? Some foods are cooling, some are neutral, and some are warming. Again, this is a very different way to look at the body. So if you're thinking, what? That's okay, right? That's okay. Because it's such a different way to look at where your body's at and using your food to match it. Yeah. Ooh, yes, estrogen dominance. Yes, this can actually help with estrogen dominance in terms of balancing, right? I say balancing very lightly because we don't want to just like go off on a train here with it. Meaning, meaning it's not supposed to be the same all month long. Yes. How are hormones affected by inflammation or vice versa? Yeah. Oh, that's a really good question. Hormones, when we talk about hormones and, you know, some of the things that you're worried about with inflammation, it is really, really tough. So if you're having stress, that's going to cause inflammation in your body, and it can disrupt your normal hormone pattern. Again, I recommend for women to follow hormone patterns, especially with their food, so you have a baseline to go off of. So no matter what stresses you're under, your body knows where to go back to. And so it can come back to the middle. So yes. So these are the things that are amazing. Okay, so one of the things that is so different when you think about this is that I can eat for my hormones. I can follow this pattern and go back to it. So an example, so here's a lady that I worked with, you know, a while ago. She had 18-month-old twin boys. Bless her heart. She had 18-month-old twin boys, and she was like, I feel like I'm going crazy. My hormones are all over the place. She goes, I have my period every 19 to 21 days. She's like, I used to be totally regular before I had the kids. I was totally regular, never any issues, no problems. I have these boys. She's like, of course I'm not sleeping because I have twin boys. But she's like, the thing that makes me feel most crazy is that my cycle's so much shorter. So I don't feel like my hormones are where they're at naturally. So we started diving in, eating for hormones and cycle. And like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. You are not looking for a quick fix. You're working at getting your body to a good baseline. And for her, the biggest thing that happened right away is that she was like, I'm just starting to get more energy, right? Starting to feel better. But it wasn't until the second month, right? She had to go through this twice. And she called me and she goes, 27 days. I'm like, hello? 27 days. She's like, I am at 27 days now. I had a 27-day cycle and I feel completely different. This is amazing. And I was like, that is amazing. You know, she was like, I was 28, maybe 29 days before. We're totally regular before I had my kids. And she goes, since I had them, and she goes, I had my cycle back like 2 months after I had my boys. She goes, it's been then 18 months. And I was like, yeah, that's a long time to go with your hormones feeling like you're going crazy just because your cycle's so off. So those are things where, again, focusing on these hormones, really aligning it with your body can give you that completely different results. If you're pregnant, pregnancy and things like that, you stick in the warming category. Sticking with the warming foods, absolutely. So measuring your body temperature, you can measure anyway, right? I just do typical under the tongue. You can take ear, you can take, you know, your temperature however you want. They have a lot of different, you know, types of temperature or thermometers to take your temperature, but you can take your temperature any type of way that you want. Good question on the Cuban Coreano fennel tea. The Cuban Coreano fennel tea is something that I recommend kind of for all of it because there's actually cooling and warming in both of them. So I would call that a neutral tea. A neutral tea. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So another story I want to tell you. So this is one of my good friends, actually. She had struggled with her weight for a long time. And I'm sure some of you can probably relate to this. She had gone on, you know, done a ton of different programs, a ton of different things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, right? And she was on this track and she was like, okay, what I'm doing now is really working for me. I want to keep doing it. And I was like, great. She goes, but I'm at this plateau and I feel like it's related to my hormones. I'm at this plateau where I've lost 40 pounds and I can't lose any more. And she had another 25 or 30 more that she wanted to go and lose still. You know, she had a larger amount of weight she wanted to lose. And I was like, okay, so tell me more about your hormones. And she was telling me about how awful her cycles were, how awful it was when she got her period. She'd be in bed for 2 to 3 days, just out. It was that painful. It was that horrible for her to go through. And this happened every month. And she's like, yeah, this has just been happening for years. This is how it is for me. And I was like, that's not normal. She's like, yeah, well, I just, you know, take, you know, pain meds and I'm just in bed then. And I was like, do you realize like for 2 weeks out of every year, you're just in bed? That's a lot. That's a lot. So we started working on eating for her hormones and cycle, right? And started working on getting her body back to a good pattern. And started focusing on your body needs these things at this time of the month. Your body needs these things at this time of the month. Here's how you can tweak your exercise for you. And so she dove into all that, added that on to whatever else she was doing, right? Because she liked that program. Great. So she just layered in eating for her hormones. And she all of a sudden started making progress from there. Now, again, like I said, women lose weight differently. So from there, she started losing inches in her waist, her hips, and her thighs that she had not lost before. Just started shrinking. She's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I was like, I know. The scale didn't change right away again. But what happened is her hormones started to regulate. It took her a few months. But all of a sudden she called me and she was like, you wouldn't believe what happened. She goes, I started my period and didn't even know it was coming. Normally I have 5 days of horrific PMS. And I know the moment that I'm going to get it because it's so terrible. And then I'm in bed for days. She goes, it just started and it was like a non-event. She goes, I barely needed to sit down today. And she's like, it's still, it's still not fantastic, right? I'm still in some pain. She goes, but this is incredible. Normally I'd be like in bed. I can move around. I can do stuff. I'm functioning. That's a huge difference in quality of life, right? And then she doesn't have to, be in bed for days. Yes, your body's felt alien for a year now. Yes. Perimenopause. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. Like this, giving your body a pattern to go off of. Yes. So pasta, estrogen, and progesterone. Great question. And that's going to be more of a neutral food. So either one or both. Yeah. Yes, but having your body feel like it's not your own. When your hormones change and you feel like you get trapped in your body and you don't know what to do about it, you don't know what steps to take next. Oh, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because you're like, I don't know. Anytime I try something, it doesn't work. Or if it does, something does change. I don't know if that's a good thing or if it's going to backfire on me, right? How many of you have done programs and you feel like, oh, this is so good. Look, I lost 10 pounds. And then you stop the program, or because it's so restrictive, you can't stay on it for a really long time, that not only do you gain that 10 pounds back, but then you gain another like 4 or 5 pounds on top of it. So now, months later, not only are you up your 10 pounds, but you've added to it. Now you're up 15 pounds. Right? Because it's not something that you can keep up. Yes. Yeah. So these are things that are just so frustrating for women to go through. Oh my gosh. So frustrating. And not something that I feel like women should have to put up with all the time. Yeah. You guys are asking really, really good questions here. I love it. I love it. Yes. You lose 2 pounds, get excited, and days later you gain more. Yes, right? Because again, you're not following the natural pattern of your body. Yes, and after you do a restrictive program, you feel like crap when the program is over because you're depleting your body and not really working with where it's at. Yes. Oh, yeah. So here is somebody else I wanted to talk about that's done one of the programs that I have. Fitting into a pair of jeans that had gotten way too tight. This morning gave them a try. Bam. They went on and they're not too tight. It felt so good. Not sure how many pounds have been lost. Ditch the scale. Yes. Not been feeling like needing a nap in the afternoon anymore. That's huge. But it seems so strange to eat so much food, but you're getting used to it. Yes, right? Like these are amazing, amazing things that shift and change in the female body when you start working with how your body is supposed to be. So how many of you feel like you could start doing some of this right now? How many of you feel like you could start implementing some of the warming and the cooling and everything else? Yes, right? Oh my gosh. And just with some of the tools that I've talked about today, implementing some of this. Yes, yeah, you can do some intermittent fasting too. Yep. Oh yeah, the supplements. Yeah, so with supplements overall, I don't recommend a ton of supplements, right? I recommend using your nutrition and using your whole food as much as possible. For some women, say you have a lot of stress in your life and you take, say an adaptogen or something, that's an herb I talk about a lot. Your body is going to react to stress differently here. So sometimes I talk about taking a little bit more of your adaptogen at this point here, tweaking it a little bit for you and where you're at. I do notice though, that women get the best result with tweaking some of their supplements when you've already gotten the basics down for eating for your hormones. Why? Because again, you have that foundation. Otherwise, when you're taking a supplement, sometimes you're like, did this work or didn't this work? I'm not sure. Yes. Yes. So there's that. So here is, kind of the options that you have right now. After learning all this information, after going through this, and for those of you that are still watching, I'm so glad that you have stayed on because we've covered so much great information. But here you have kind of two options. You can take what I've taught you so far, try to apply it on your own. Again, the thing that I have found for a lot of women, again, you can see the questions coming through. They just keep coming because it is such a new way to eat for your body that a lot of times to immediately apply it, it can be a little tough just because it's so different. It's not hard. It's not difficult to do. It's just, you know, it's a whole new way of thinking about fueling your body and matching it with where your body's at. So a lot of times when women learn this information and they just go at it on their own, there's a lot of questions that they have, or they're applying some of it, but they're also missing other key parts of it. So that's a big thing as well. And again, I know some of you have probably started programs. I've done this before. We're starting a program and you apply some of it, but you're like, I'm not sure I'm doing this right. What am I missing here? I feel like I'm missing something, right? Because you're going at it alone by yourself. So that's one of the things that you can do right now. You can just take some of the info that we've talked about. You know, I have some in my book. I have some, you know, online, that type of a thing, but you can go at it alone. Yes. Oh, here's another gal too. She's like, she just wanted to send a quick note, let you know that the program has been the best investment she's made for her health. Look at my photos before the program, and although it's a bit blurry compared to her current, there's been huge changes. Not only that, my energy level has increased, and I'm simply so much happier. Even John told me on our trip how proud he was of me in taking charge of my health. I'm ready for the next 4 weeks. Thank you for all you do. That one just made my day when I got that message. That gal had an amazing transformation by going through this, and it made me so happy to get that message for her. So the other option that you guys have, again, if you're like, I want to do this, you know, I'm not sure where to start and I want to do it right. I want to do it right for my body. You can join. You have the option of joining my Female Fat Solution membership program. So this is an exclusive online community where I continually teach and guide you how to match your nutrition and your exercise to your hormones. And we talk about even more in depth about how to figure out where you're at. If your cycle's all over the place, if you haven't had a cycle in a while, if you're not sure, if you have cysts, all these other things, right? All these answers are in there for you. And we work together to get to the bottom of it so you know where to start. So if you're sick and tired of being stuck, frustrated, you know, not sure where to turn next, then this is going to be the right option for you to jump into. So what this is, I'm just going to go through this so you guys know exactly what this is. There's a monthly meal guide, seasonal nutrition, which is fun. There's an exclusive community. There's elite level nutrition training. This is one-of-a-kind nutrition training that I do here. Exercise for your hormones guide, recipes, your transformation, and then I'm also including a hormone hack bonus, which I'll talk about in a minute, what that is. But the meal guide here's a little sample of it so you guys can see it, because it's kind of hard to conceptualize. But so this is obviously the cooling portion of the meal guide. It's put together in like cooling protein, a carb, and a veggie. You know, you can see a cooling protein, fruit, right? And then there's a list of food options, warming food options, cooling food options, and they're all seasonally matched as well. Seasonally is important because you're going to be getting the freshest foods available. You're going to be getting foods with the most nutrients around, right? And what's in season. So that's the main thing with that. This meal guide is fantastic because it is plug and play. It is, here's the foods I like to eat. Here's the cooling phase that I'm in. Here we go, plug and play. There's a variety offered there so that you're getting a good variety, but it is super easy to follow. If you're busy, if say you're a teacher, right? You barely have time to go to the bathroom during the day. You don't have to think or worry. You can just plug and play and match things. You go out to dinner, right? The holidays are coming. I can't tell you how many women I hear from all the time that they're terrified to go out to eat. They're terrified, you know, of holidays and events because they're so worried they're going to get pulled off track. Well, you can pull out your program and be like, oh, look, here's the foods that are on the menu, and here's what I'm going to match to where I'm at for my meals. Boom, easy. You're not missing anything. It's not restrictive. It's not cutting things out, right? It's just matching where you're at with your foods. It's so nice. So these are things that you get as part of the membership. And these meal guides change every month. Every month there's a new fresh meal guide. Yeah. So, and with the holidays coming up, I mean, I just can't I can't tell you how nice it is to have a guideline. And there's also going to be some special holiday tips that I throw in, that type of a thing. Yes, I actually worked with a gal who had a lot of anxiety about events. She would cancel on her girlfriends because she was so worried that going out to eat on a Friday, doing a happy hour would ruin all of her progress that she made that week, right? She was missing on so many things that she enjoyed with her friends and her social life. Once we started implementing some of these things, it was like, you don't have to be afraid of it. You don't have to worry about having a glass of wine and that you'd gain weight from it, because your body's metabolism is going to be going on its own. It's going to burn that off naturally. That's fantastic. So I put some values there. So the total value of everything in this Female Fat Solution membership is $2,119. So also, with the exclusive community that you're going to get, you can be with other women that are also experiencing the same thing that you are. I mean, I know some of you, right? I know some of you. A couple of questions here. Can you drink protein shakes? For sure you can. Yes, for sure you can. For those of you that can I drink a protein shake? Please do. That's great. For those of you that have, chatted with other girlfriends that maybe don't have the same issues that you do, it's not the same. When you're like, yeah, I tried this, and they're like, oh, well, it's super easy. I just cut out sugar and I dropped 10 pounds. And you're like, what? What? You get to be in this community with other women who know and understand what you're going through with hormone issues, right? That is so valuable and so helpful and supportive. We also support and we celebrate all of your wins, non-scale victories, all these things. It's amazing to be in this type of community. The elite level nutrition training. So this is really, exclusive in the membership group where I am talking about all of these things. You get access to the one-of-a-kind nutrition training that I do, guidance on it. Again, there's nothing else like this out there. So for those of you that are like, holy cow, this is really different. If you've never tried something like this, I guarantee it's going to knock your socks off, because it is a totally different way of approaching the female body. Never rigid, never restrictive. And then we also go through more in depth on the exercise for hormone guides. I didn't get a chance to talk about that as much, and I know there was more questions on it. Yes, Deb, we're going to be sending out these meal guides. Yes. They're also posted in the group now too. Deb's already in the group. She loves it. So we'll be chatting more about that in the group, more about exercise and how to match it with your hormones. All of that, because it is so important. So this is something that you can get, here, and I'll put it up right now so you guys can see it. You get the meal guide, the seasonal nutrition that changes every month, the exclusive community, this elite level nutrition training. And again, it is more stuff like this, right? You get more training on this in the group. Exercise for your hormones guide. So week to week what to focus on too for your exercise and for your fitness and health. You get other recipes, right? Other recipes that you can easily add in. You'll get a transformation. It's going to change so many things for you. And you'll get one hormone hack bonus, all for just $49 a month. So if you guys can see right there that I put that up, if you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm in, I want it, click that link and join, because you're going to be just amazed at the difference that this makes in your life. The accountability and recipes. Looking at this, so here's an example of two recipes. One is cooling, one is warming. I'm sure you guys can figure out by looking at this. The coconut ginger overnight oats, great recipe and super easy, right? Especially if you're on the go in a hurry in the morning. It's warming. The ginger is very warming, high protein. It's going to keep you full for a really long time, and it's delicious. And then the other one is the coffee mint shake. Honestly, sometimes that's the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. That is hands down one of my favorite recipes. I have one literally about every day. If a day goes by and I don't have one of those, I honestly feel sad. I'm like, I didn't have my coffee shake today. And the coffee mint, delicious. So good. And it's cooling. When I'm not in my cooling phase, I don't add the mint. I add cinnamon. Warming. See, so easy to switch back and forth. But so these are just a sample of some of the recipes that you'll get in the group. So easy way to swap in, add these in, integrate it in, day to day, for your hormones. So here it is in full, the meal guide. Again, it's a guide that plug and play, easy to implement, easy on the go, easy if you travel, easy if you're at events to just look and say, oh my gosh, here's what I need to stay on track. Here we go. The seasonal nutrition, the community, the nutrition training, more training like this, more of a deep dive into this, really helping you figure out and integrate it for your body. Exercise for your hormones, diving into that more, the recipes, your transformation, there's accountability, and then the hormone hack bonus. Now, this is just $49 a month. If you are sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I want to do this, I want to jump into this, I know it's going to take me a while, so I want to jump in for a longer period of time. If you want to sign up for a full year, you actually get 2 months free. So you save $98. So it's just $490 for the year. So there's that option as well. If you're thinking that you want to go all in and you want to dive in and really add this to your health routine. The bonus trainings that I added in. So you get to pick one of these 3. These are really exciting. I want to talk about these for a minute. Yes. Is coconut oil okay if you have high cholesterol? Oh, so there's a couple of good questions. So coconut oil. So high cholesterol, it depends. A lot of times if you have hormone changes, it does raise your cholesterol. That's not necessarily related to like, oh, you're eating bad food. It is just that hormone shift, and your body does need healthy fats to help regulate your hormones. So I do have coconut oil and healthy fats in the recipes. If you don't like it, or if you're allergic to it, you can swap it for something different. Avocado oil, olive oil. If you can do dairy, I do grass-fed butter or ghee. That's a great way to get healthy fats in the morning. Again, it's not necessarily related to cholesterol. It's more about really helping with your hormones. The whey protein powder is good. Yes, a lot of times I'll talk about doing dairy-free and then doing dairy. As long as your body can tolerate dairy, because dairy is warming. Dairy is warming. So whey protein, that's warming. Yes. Since you're in perimenopause, yeah. So with perimenopause or menopause, you would still follow the same patterns. You just start, you can start right at the beginning. Because we're going to be working with the carb burning aspect. We're going to be working with the fat burning aspect. And so here's for all of those, for those ladies that are still watching and you're in perimenopause or menopause, this would be the hack that you would want to get, that you would want to choose as your bonus. So we have the first hack is the fat burning hack for your cycle, right? If you are like, oh my gosh, my hormones, my cycle's irregular, all these other things, but I want to burn more fat with it, this would be the one for you. If you're in perimenopause or menopause, the menopause hack. This is slight tweaks on your nutrition for those of you that are in perimenopause or menopause. You still follow the same base, but you add in these special things on top of it, layer that into. Incredible. It's a lot of it's focused on stress. A lot of it's focused on nutrient timing. Nutrient timing is so, so important when your body's in perimenopause or menopause. When and how you're fueling. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Thank you for putting me on the right path. Still so much to process. Yes, it is, but glad to know you're on the right track. Yes. Yeah, I know, right? Like this is a lot to process. It's a lot to go through, and I totally understand. And that's why I have this guide. That's why I have this meal plan guide for you to follow. So if you're feeling like, I know this is going to help, I know this is going to change things for me, I just want to make sure I do it right, here you go, plug and play, right? So the second one, menopause hacks. And the last one is fat burning fitness hacks. So really dialing in for those of you that are really active, those of you that work out a ton, specific things to burn more fat when you're working out and for your fitness. But here, that second one, again, for the women that are in perimenopause or menopause, I cannot stress enough for you to grab that menopause hack. Game changer, total game changer. Yeah. So again, all of that. So you get one of those, it's a special deep dive training, just like this, but specific on that one topic. And again, you get this training, it's yours to keep. So that again, you can go through the information over and over and over and over again. Because like I said, it takes a little bit for you to be like, oh, I get it now. Oh, now I notice when I do these things, I feel better, I feel different, and now I'm seeing and feeling this results. Yes. Yes, Deb. Even if you've been 9 years past menopause, for you, I would still do the menopause hacks. Still tons of info there. Yes. So again, for a total value, of over $2,000 for just $49 a month with this membership, or $490 for the whole year. Again, you get 2 months free with that. Now, one other thing that I'm doing for the next 24 hours only, for those of you that are like, oh man, this is going to be good. Yep. For the next 24 hours, you will actually get the protein ball and fat bomb cookbook I have free. So these are amazing recipes, different things that you can use as snacks. You can plug and play right into the meal guide as well. I will warn you that some of these recipes, especially the one I have up there, the salted caramel one, if you make this, you should hide it, because if you live with other people, they will eat it. They will eat all of it. I have done this where I made whole tray of protein balls. I'm not kidding, like a huge, huge metal trays, right? Like huge cookie sheet. Filled the whole thing with protein balls. Put it in the fridge. I went to bed thinking it would be there in the morning. You know what? Guess what my husband did? He ate 3/4 of it at night. And I woke up and there was like 2 lonely little rows left. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. What did you do? Those are really good. I know. You just ate like 2 weeks worth of protein balls, babe. What? Yeah. So that's my warning with this. But this is an extra bonus. Yep. This is an extra bonus for the next 24 hours. You get the protein ball and fat bomb cookbook. And on the meal guide, again, if you're like, oof, I'm not sure where to put this in, it's all listed there. All plug and play. He probably lost 10 pounds overnight. Yeah, he probably did. Yeah, he probably did. Yes. Isn't that funny? That's funny. Can you stick with this program and modify it to fit keto? Yep. Yeah. So that's the other thing too, is that when you're applying this to warming and cooling, you're using regular foods. So whatever foods you like to eat, whatever you normally do, you're tweaking it to match that. Yes. There's another question here, I think. Yes. Amy. Yes. Yeah. So again, this bonus is going to be available for the next 24 hours. So if you're like, I don't necessarily need the cookbook, the protein ball and fat bomb cookbook, and you want to take more than 24 hours, you can still get this bonus. But this bonus is the only one that's available for the next 24 hours. Yes. Yes. And I'm not sure about claiming it on a health plan necessarily. Although that would be awesome. Yeah. So overall, again, so I'm throwing in that extra cookbook as a bonus for the next 24 hours only. But all of these things, huge value. I honestly have done these meal guides and different plans and different programs and sold them for all these things. So when I say value, that's really what I've sold them for. That's really what other women have purchased these programs from me for. And I'm grouping this together and putting it all in this membership for just $49 a month. So, and again, you can click and see the offer there and click and join right now. If you're like, yes, I want this. I want the cookbook. I want it. This is, I don't want to wait anymore. Yeah. How many calories can you consume, or do you even count them? No, you don't necessarily count calories. We work on nutrients. Great question, though. Great question. Okay. So another testimonial, you notice less bloating, going gluten-free. Yes, a lot of times I recommend women going gluten-free to help with their hormones, count calories. Yes, not counting calories. That was a good calorie question. You don't count calories, you count your nutrients. Yes. And focusing on nutrients is so much smarter. You've lost a few pounds, inch off the waist. Not dramatic, but for being pre-menopause, this is really good. Before I couldn't get any change at all, so moving in the right direction now. Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Good question with the hypothyroid. Yep. A lot of women have, autoimmune issues, thyroid issues, all these other things. And these are things you can still work with your body and hormones with doing, even if you have all these other issues. Yes. Having more energy, less bloated, period is much better, which is a big deal. Keep going and losing inches too. Yeah. All these things, right? So this is something that is completely different way of looking at it. There are so many different things that happen for women when they start using nutrition to match with their bodies and hormones. Yes, I know. So this has been a little bit longer of a webinar. Lots of good questions, you guys. Lots of good questions. Oh my gosh. Postmenopause easier than the peri, especially for weight. Peri has been brutal. Oh, yes. Peri has been, it can be super brutal because, again, your body's all over the place. When you're helping it with the regular pattern, you actually get to ease through that transition a lot better, right? It's not all of a sudden you feel like you get hit by a truck some days, right? Because your body has this pattern that it's going off of and just sort of gently flows into the next phase. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. A lot of times. Yay. Yes. Jeannie just signed up. Awesome. I love it. Daughter's on thyroid. Yep. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Again, a lot of times just eating for your hormones is it's going to be so much better. You get so much more energy and everything. It's incredible. Okay. Yes. Awesome. All right. Yes. Okay. Deb enrolled. Awesome. I love it. Ooh, good question. Yes. So with this, with the monthly membership, and then you add in the hormone hack, you add those things together, layer in those tweaks on top of it, and that's where you get the benefit if you're in menopause. Yes. Yes, you're very welcome. Yes. Okay, and I'm seeing here, I'm seeing more ladies just jump on and join. Julie, Heather, yes, awesome. All right, thank you so much for being on, you guys. I know this went a little bit longer than I planned, but so many good questions from you guys. And again, this is so normal because so many women struggle and they're looking for a result. They're looking for, a way to really advance their health and their nutrition. So, and this is a fantastic way of doing it. So I really appreciate you for sticking on this long and listening to all the questions being answered. Another favor I have, though, to ask of you is if you feel like you know somebody who could use this information, I would so love and appreciate you sharing it with them, because my mission is to just educate women as much as possible on their bodies, on their health, and how to use their nutrition and match it naturally so you're not struggling anymore. If you would share this with them so that they could get the help that they need, I would so love, 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 and appreciate it. Yes. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. Yes. Yes. Anybody who enrolls with the link with the next 24 hours gets all of the goodies, Leah. Yes. Yay. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Yes. So you will get an email and everything. For those of you that enroll, you'll get an email and you can forward that email and say, hey, join me on this. Hey, jump on board. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. You'll see the replay, Lisa. Yep. Yes. Yeah. So for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, you got your best friend and she's got hormone issues. Again, for just $49 a month, jump on board, check everything out, get those meal guides, get the exercise guides, get the hormone hacks, everything else, get the cookbook for free as a bonus, and you're going to be good to go. And you think about it. This is the perfect time to do it. You're heading right into the holidays. It's amazing. All right. Yay. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Yes. Awesome. All right. Everybody have a great night. Thank you so much for tuning in.